Everyone to Housecoat Podcasting. I am Takeshi Yamato, joining 117 Jorn,
Oh.
and our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today we are back in Star Trek Online to discuss RPGs. Video game RPGs, not tabletops. Those are a fairly different topic, though they are
One from a similar vein.
Yeah. But anyway, role-playing games role-playing video games basically have you play characters in a fictional universe and go through a storyline.
In most RPGs, you can usually change your character. Like, you can make it be like a good representation of yourself.
Or it could just be a totally different gender, like I can be sometimes.
Oh, yes, he's got a voice changer mod.
I have a new toy.
Yes. Anyway, a subset of video game RPGs is the massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or MMORPG. Star Trek Online is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
The most iconic and original MMORPG would be World of Warcraft, originally made by Blizzard Entertainment.
It was like pretty much the progenitor of it all, and just pretty much it all spiraled out of control from there, basically, and everyone's been trying to beat him ever since.
Yep.
Of course, as of late, it's been significantly easier ever since Activision and Blizzard went completely cray-cray.
Yeah. Anyway, the standard progression in RPG is simple. You beat enemies or complete quests, and you get experience points. Once you get enough experience points, you level up. When you level up, you get stronger. And sometimes higher levels allow you to get more gear. It will allow you to use better equipment. And some MMOs have multiple sections, like STO has ground and space. And for a long time, your ship was tied to your level. Then eventually they decided they took the best tier of ships in the game, tier 6, and made it scalable so that you could use a tier 6 starship as soon as you completed the tutorial.
Of course, there are mods that can actually change that, where you can start off at a completely random place and just play like a actual role-playing experience where it's not all planned. A friend of mine, he actually has a mod for Skyrim, which is one of the more popular RPGs out there. It's not really an MMORPG, but he put a mod where basically you could choose whether or not to do the Skyrim storyline, or to make it so your character starts off in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
And for regular RPGs, the first major one to properly show up has a bit of a story behind it. Many years ago, there was a small video game designer called Square. Square was in the process of going under. So they decided they would make one last game. This game, because it was supposedly going to be their last one, had an appropriate name. Final Fantasy. It sold better than they were expecting. Way better than they were expecting. These days, Square is now Square Enix, and Final Fantasy is a franchise 16 games plus long.
That's a lot.
Yes. And I did say plus. That's just the game. 16 is just the number of mainline games. There's spin-offs, there's semi-sequels, there's Final Fantasy VII Remake, and there's multiple versions of some of these games. The only other RPG series that possibly has been running about as long as Final Fantasy would be Fire Emblem from Nintendo.
Fire Emblem. I still have yet to complete any one of the games.
Yeah.
Even though I own like 2 of them.
Yeah. I've completed 7, 8, 9, and 10, and the remake of the first one. Awakening is also a decent game, and I haven't finished that, but I've played a lot of it. Same with Fate.
Same.
And for 3
I still need to get the 3 houses. Like, I've played it, I just never completed it.
I have completed 1 path in 3 houses. The path I have completed is Crimson Flower.
Don't say anything more, I don't want spoilers. Somehow I managed to go all these years without spoilers. I'm not letting you spoil it for me.
Right. I will just name the 4 paths. There's White Clouds is basically a starter path, and the story branches out into 4 separate paths when White Clouds finishes up. There's Crimson Flower, Azure Moon, Silver Snow, and Verdant Wind.
If anyone in the comment tries to spoil it,
you will not appreciate the result.
Was that Darth Vader?
I am Kylo Ren. Obviously, can't you not see the feel the edge? The artificial edge that was injected into my voice by Disney.
Gotcha. AKA Discount Vader.
There are 2.
Anyway. Then there's the latest one, Fire Emblem Engage. I've not gotten too far into that one.
my friend has it. He says it's good, though. The main character's a bit bland, apparently. But that's all he has to say about it so far.
Yeah. And let's see. Other RPGs. Oh! BioWare has some of the biggest RPGs. And I'm not just meaning in scale, but these things, well, the dialogue choices, the romance options, the scale is definitely a big part of their games.
Knights of the Old Republic, the Old Republic.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic, the Knights 2, and Star Wars The Old Republic, which is
Mass Effect.
Yep, Mass Effect, Dragon Age. Dragon Age is BioWare.
They had the RPGs down to a science, up until the point where they stopped having it down to a science.
Yeah.
We all know when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see. Let me check my Steam library just to see if there's anything more. Ah! There's another RPG series.
Stop them!
There's another RPG series that I know of, that I have, called Record of Agarest War, or Agarest Generations of War, depending on your version. That one... There's 3 games in that series. Agarest Generations of War, Agarest Zero, and Agarest Generations of War 2. And they came out in that order. First game, prequel, sequel. And they are very interesting RPGs. They're decent. But and they're fairly large scale, but not in the same way as BioWare epics. How the Agarest games are multi-generation. As in the first game you have 5 different generations of characters. Right. And some platformers also have RPG-style mechanics where you can level up their characters, like the Gunvolt series. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse games are decent RPGs with some fighting game mechanics because, well, Dragon Ball. Oh,
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, the class system. RPGs often have classes for their characters. You've got fighters, you've got mages, you've got fighters, mages, rogues, etc. You've got your heavy DPS people, you got your damage absorbing tanks, and you got your mages. And some games don't hold to this quite as heavily, and you have characters able to do multiple different roles at once. Though a lot of times, if you have a class can be focused on just a specific role. In Star Trek Online, cruisers are your tanks, escorts are your DPS, and science vessels are your support magic users. Which Ron doesn't like. He prefers dealing damage. Yeah. And abilities in these games come in 2 flavors. Offensive abilities come in 2 flavors: single target and AoE. Single target affects a single target, as stated, and AoE deals affects an area. And there are various status effects you can do, like stunning or holding stuff. And of course, RPGs also tend to do different types of damage. In a game, in a standard fantasy style game, you would have physical damage, possibly split into piercing, slashing, and blood and blunt or bludgeoning. And then you would have like the 4 elements. You would have elemental damage like fire, electricity, water, earth, etc. So, yeah. And of course, your enemies can do all sorts of different stuff to you. So,
what else is there about RPGs? I feel like we're forgetting something. Like, I'd bring up RNG, but Ron hates RNG, so there's no real point in bringing it up.
yeah. Yeah. RNG. A lot of things in many games, RPGs especially, boil down to some factor of randomness. And this is determined by something called a random number generator. Or, in the physical terminology, that generator would basically be the dice. You roll the dice, you tally up the results, and things go from there. Ron doesn't like it, but there's always some element of randomness in games. Even Star Trek Online has it a little bit in damage, because all attacks deal a range of damage, and whether a hit is high or low on that range is up to the dice.
That's why the dice gods are a thing, and they must be praised at every waking moment, or else they will betray you at your most critical moment.
Yeah. Oh, there's another RPG series that makes use of the dice fairly well, and it's one Ron likes quite a bit. Pokemon!
Duh. After all, we can't forget our favorite little mascot.
Oh yeah. The little Come on!
We love our little land shark even when we're not playing Pokemon.
Yeah. And you'll probably not see us playing Pokemon because Ron's recording software only works on the computer. Anyway. That's about all I got, aside from talking about other RPGs. Because there's still quite a few of them out there.
Did you guys heard that? Did you guys hear that beeping sound?
Beeping?
Okay, just me, okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's still quite a few RPGs out there. Some of them quite good. I will admit there are some that I like that neither Ron nor Jorn have played. And there are some that one of them likes that I haven't played. But everyone has their own everyone has their own tastes, and there's still quite a few options to take. And one series that I've played is Star Ocean, also known as Japanese Not Star Trek. I mean, it's rather fun. Star Ocean has a rather interesting plot across 6 different games now, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. And let's see. There are also sometimes tabletop games also have computer game equivalents, like the Pathfinder system from Paizo has a couple of games on Steam. Pathfinder Kingmaker and Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous.
Which hopefully will convince Ron to play one of these days.
Yes, hopefully. Oh boy. And then, of course, there's another famous RPG series that, again, Jorn and I like, but Ron doesn't. And I suppose this is a good choice. I suppose this is a good one to wrap it up and also segue into our next and possibly final topic in Housecoat podcasting, because I've been the one who's been coming up with ideas for us, and the next topic is the last one that I've been able to come up with, because this last game that I'm going to mention, this last game franchise I'm going to mention, is Super Robot Wars.
To the give away! You hear it that time?
Yeah. But yeah. Super Robot Wars. A video game, a tactical role-playing game featuring various entries in the humongous mecha genre. And that will be our quite possibly final topic in Housecoat podcasting. And that will be next time.
So get your mobile suits ready and get ready for some mecha combat and see a lot of explosions! damn, I couldn't find the right one. Oh, there it is.
Of course.
Oh, that's the wrong one, damn it.
Yeah. Of course, I assume that we are only going to end this vid once Ron finishes the STM. But we don't really have much more to say.
Well, ain't that a... What was that? What just happened?
I think you got censored.
All I just said was that Ron can be a real...
I think you just got censored.
Oh, this is utter crap. Since when did we censor? Like, we're not on... Oh no, it's the YouTube censors. Why are they censoring us? We don't do anything offensive. We're not saying... Oh, for the love of... Of course, I'm the one who's being funny. I'm being the funny one here, and I'm getting censored. Yo, I think you could do something about this. This is really. Really? I can't even say anymore. Ron, you can get this cleared up, right? You can get this cleared up, right? I can't live like this. I can't live while being... Ron?
I think he's focused on his game.
Oh yeah, sure, he can curse, but I can't. I'm not pushing it. I don't know what's causing this. It's really...
Now, I would show off the Hestia, but this has gone on long enough.
This has gone on quite long enough.
Yeah. In order, I've gone from tank to magic, and now this would have been the DPS one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Signing off.
See you next time.